Throughout history, humanity has searched for ways to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Ancient alchemists spent lifetimes attempting to turn base metals into gold, believing they could unlock the secrets of transmutation through mystical formulas and sacred rituals. But what if I told you that the greatest alchemical transformation isn't about converting lead into precious metal, but about converting faith into something far more valuable than gold itself? Welcome to a journey that will challenge everything you think you know about spiritual transformation. Today we're diving deep into what I call the Alchemist's Bible, a blueprint for turning your faith from a passive belief system into an active force that creates tangible results in your life. This isn't about religious doctrine or theological debates. This is about practical spirituality that produces real outcomes. The ancient alchemists were onto something profound, even if they didn't fully understand it themselves. They believed that transformation was possible, that the fundamental nature of matter could be changed through the right combination of knowledge, intention, and process. They were right about the principle, but they were looking in the wrong place. The real laboratory isn't external, it's internal. The real gold isn't a metal, it's the transformation of consciousness itself. Think about faith for a moment. Most people treat faith like a trophy on a shelf, something beautiful to admire but rarely used. They go to their place of worship, they say their prayers, they read their sacred texts, and then they go back to living as if none of it really matters. But faith was never meant to be decorative. Faith is meant to be functional. It's meant to be the raw material for creating the life you truly desire. The first principle of spiritual alchemy is understanding that faith without action is like having a powerful engine without fuel. You can admire the engineering, you can study the manual, you can even sit in the driver's seat, but until you turn the key and press the accelerator, you're not going anywhere. The alchemists understood this. They didn't just read about transmutation, they got their hands dirty in the laboratory. They experimented, they failed, they learned, and they tried again. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think spiritual transformation is about following a rigid formula, like a recipe in a cookbook. Add 2 cups of prayer, 1 tablespoon of meditation, stir in some positive thinking, and voila, your life is transformed. That's not how it works. Real spiritual alchemy is about understanding the underlying principles and then applying them creatively to your unique circumstances. The second principle is that transformation always begins with a clear vision of what you want to create. The alchemists called this the prima materia, the first matter. Before they could transform anything, they had to know exactly what they were working with and exactly what they wanted to achieve. In spiritual terms, this means getting brutally honest about where you are right now and crystal clear about where you want to be. Most people skip this step, and that's why their faith remains ineffective. They pray for blessings without defining what those blessings look like. They ask for guidance without specifying what decisions they need to make. They hope for better days without painting a detailed picture of what better actually means. The universe responds to specificity. Vague requests produce vague results. Here's a practical exercise that demonstrates this principle. Take any area of your life where you want to see change. Instead of praying for general improvement, create a detailed vision of exactly what success looks like. If it's your career, don't just ask for a better job. Describe the exact role you want, the type of company you want to work for, the salary you want to earn, the impact you want to make. If it's your relationships, don't just hope for love. Define the qualities you want in a partner, the type of connection you want to share, the activities you want to enjoy together. This level of specificity does something powerful. It activates what psychologists call the reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information and focuses your attention on what's important. When you get specific about what you want, your brain starts noticing opportunities and resources that were always there but previously invisible to you. The third principle of spiritual alchemy is that faith must be combined with intelligent action. This is where many religious traditions get it backwards. They teach that faith means waiting passively for divine intervention, trusting that somehow, someway, things will work out without any effort on your part. But that's not faith, that's wishful thinking. Real faith is different. Real faith says, I believe this outcome is possible, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. Real faith is active, not passive. It's a partnership between your vision and your effort, between your prayers and your persistence, between your hope and your hustle. The ancient alchemists spent years studying chemistry, metallurgy, and natural philosophy. They didn't just pray for gold to appear, they learned everything they could about the properties of metals and the processes of transformation. They combined their spiritual practices with practical knowledge and consistent experimentation. This is the model for modern spiritual alchemy. If you want to transform your finances, combine your faith with financial education and disciplined money management. If you want to transform your health, combine your prayers with proper nutrition and regular exercise. If you want to transform your relationships, combine your spiritual practices with communication skills and emotional intelligence. The fourth principle is that transformation requires you to become comfortable with discomfort. The alchemical process isn't gentle. It involves heat, pressure, dissolution, and reconstitution. The old form must be broken down before the new form can emerge. This is true in spiritual transformation as well. When you begin to apply these principles seriously, your life will start to change, and change is always uncomfortable, even when it's positive. Old patterns will be challenged. Familiar routines will be disrupted. Relationships that no longer serve your growth may fall away. This is normal and necessary, but it's not easy. Most people abort the transformation process at this point. They start to see results, but the changes feel scary or unfamiliar, so they retreat back to their comfort zone. They choose the familiar misery over the unfamiliar possibility. This is why so few people ever experience real breakthrough in their lives. They're not willing to endure the temporary discomfort that transformation requires. But here's what the successful alchemists understood. The discomfort is not punishment, it's purification. It's not a sign that something is wrong, it's a sign that something is working. Every time you feel that resistance, that fear, that urge to quit, you're at the edge of a breakthrough. That's exactly when you need to lean in harder, not pull back. The fifth principle is that spiritual alchemy requires community. The old image of the alchemist working alone in a secret laboratory is romantic, but it's not accurate. The most successful alchemists were part of networks, sharing knowledge, resources, and encouragement with other seekers. They understood that transformation is easier when you're surrounded by people who believe in what you're trying to achieve. This is crucial in your own spiritual development. You need to surround yourself with people who support your growth, who challenge you to think bigger, who hold you accountable to your commitments. You need mentors who have already achieved what you're working toward, peers who are on a similar journey, and eventually, people you can mentor and guide. But be careful about who you share your dreams with. Not everyone will understand or support your transformation. Some people are invested in keeping you exactly where you are because your growth threatens their comfort zone. They may disguise their resistance as concern, warning you about the risks of change or reminding you of past failures. The successful spiritual alchemist learns to distinguish between genuine concern and disguised sabotage. They listen to wise counsel but ignore fearful criticism. They remain open to feedback but closed to discouragement. They understand that not everyone is qualified to speak into their destiny. The sixth principle is that results require consistent practice over time. The alchemists didn't expect instant results. They understood that transformation is a process, not an event. They were willing to work for months or years to achieve their goals because they believed the outcome was worth the investment. In our instant gratification culture, this patience is rare. People want to pray once and see miracles immediately. They want to meditate for a week and achieve enlightenment. They want to visualize for a month and manifest their dream life. When results don't come quickly, they assume the process doesn't work and move on to the next quick fix. But spiritual alchemy doesn't work that way. Like compound interest, the effects are small at first but exponential over time. The key is to establish daily practices that align with your vision and then maintain those practices regardless of immediate results. Trust the process even when you can't see the progress. This might mean getting up 30 minutes earlier every day to pray and plan. It might mean reading educational books instead of scrolling social media. It might mean having difficult conversations instead of avoiding conflict. It might mean investing money in your growth instead of spending it on temporary pleasures. These small daily choices seem insignificant in the moment, but they compound into extraordinary results over time. The seventh principle is that true spiritual alchemy transforms not just your circumstances but your character. The goal isn't just to get what you want, it's to become the kind of person who naturally attracts what you want. This is the difference between temporary success and lasting transformation. You can manipulate your way into short-term gains, but sustainable success requires genuine development. You have to grow into your goals. You have to develop the mindset, skills, and habits that support the life you want to create. This internal transformation is often more challenging than the external changes, but it's also more rewarding. As you practice these principles, you'll notice that your faith becomes more than just a belief system. It becomes a practical tool for creating positive change. You'll start to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You'll find solutions where others see problems. You'll maintain hope where others surrender to despair. This is the gold that spiritual alchemy produces. Not the metal that sits in vaults, but the mindset that turns dreams into reality. Not the treasure that can be stolen, but the wisdom that can never be taken away. Not the wealth that fluctuates with markets, but the abundance that flows from alignment with your highest purpose. The transformation isn't always easy, and it's never instant, but it's always possible. Every single day, you have the opportunity to apply these principles and move closer to the life you truly desire. Every prayer can be a catalyst for action. Every challenge can be an opportunity for growth. Every setback can be a setup for a comeback. The laboratory is open. The materials are available. The formula has been revealed. The only question remaining is whether you're ready to begin the great work of transforming your faith into the gold of a life well lived. The alchemists of old searched for centuries to discover what you now hold in your hands. The question is, what will you do with it? The choice is yours, and the time is now. Your transformation awaits.